India is one of the world's 5 major emerging economies. It's a member of the BRICS group of countries along with China, Russia, Brazil, and South Africa. India is following in the footsteps of most other BRICS countries to decrease its share in the U.S. sovereign debt. It is instead boosting its bullion reserves. The Reserve Bank of India purchased 8.46 metric tons of the precious metal in the last fiscal year, which ended in March. The latest figures provided by the U.S. Treasury show India's holding of American sovereign debt went down from $157 billion in March to about $150 billion by May. Meanwhile, Russia has drastically cut its U.S. debt share and is buying gold amid a hike in tensions with America. India and Russia say such measures are aimed at diversifying their foreign exchange reserves with no hostile motive.
They're dumping treasuries because they believe the sanctions may be extended and prevent them from cashing in on those treasuries. In that case, I think the others, it's partly because it looks like some gold is declining, and that treasuries probably have peaked, and they're probably thinking they want to cash them in at this point. It may be because they need the income here as global trade is slowing.
But such trend could impact the U.S. economy in the long run, especially if China joins them in selling off the securities. China has bought a great deal of U.S. Treasury securities over the past decades and has now accumulated some $1.2 trillion worth of U.S. debt. Experts believe that gives China a potentially powerful weapon against the United States, as tensions between the two sides skyrocket over trade. U.S. President Donald Trump has been relentless in his campaign against Chinese imports and goods from several other countries. If push comes to shove, China may choose to flood the market with treasuries, making it much more expensive for American companies to borrow, and that will probably slow down the U.S. economy significantly.
If they cash in the treasuries, that means there's going to be more treasuries on the market, a greater supply of treasuries, and the supply will cause the price of treasuries to decline some. But the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury Department, I don't think they'd be too concerned with a decline in the value of treasuries at this point.
In one instance, China sold $2.5 billion of treasuries in March, amid heightened tension between Beijing and Washington over trade. Meanwhile, members of the BRICS group are making efforts to challenge the dollar and eventually replace it with other currencies. If the U.S. sticks to its confrontational path, the major emerging economies could be even forced to speed up such efforts against the U.S. economic dominance. The BRICS countries represent almost half of the global population, and their share of the global economy is expanding. The United States is expected to face a lot more competition from the group's members.